You think you can just run wild in my park, little miss? I have had enough of your type today, making noise and bothering decent people. The voice was hard, cold, and filled with a mean kind of power. If you believe everyone deserves to be spoken to with respect, type respect in the comments below. John turned, his heart giving a sudden, worried thump. His daughter, Lily, stood frozen, her eyes wide with surprise and a little bit of fear. She was only 15, and they had just been laughing, enjoying a sunny afternoon. Lily had been practicing a new dance move on the grass, her music playing softly from her phone. She was not bothering anyone. The man speaking was a police officer. His name tag read Miller. He had a sour look on his face, like he had tasted something bad and wanted everyone else to taste it too. John was a quiet man. He was not tall or loud. His clothes were simple. You would not look at him twice on the street. But inside John, there was a deep well of calm and a strength that had been tested in ways Officer Miller could never imagine. He had served his country for 20 long years, in places far away, in situations that made this park feel like a dream. He carried those years not like a heavy coat, but like a hidden part of his soul. Today, he was just a father, trying to give his daughter a happy day. They had come to the park to get some fresh air. Lily had a school project about local plants, and John was helping her find different kinds of leaves. After that, she wanted to practice for her school's talent show. That was all. Nothing wrong. Nothing to cause trouble. John kept a small, worn photograph in his wallet. It was of him in his old uniform, standing with his unit. He rarely looked at it, but knowing it was there reminded him of promises kept and duties done. It also reminded him of the friends he had made, friends who were like family. Officer Miller took another step towards Lily. I said, "What do you think you are doing? Disturbing the peace?" His voice got louder. Lily finally found her voice, though it trembled a little. I was just dancing, sir. My music is low." "Low?" Officer Miller scoffed. He pointed at her phone on the grass. "That's public nuisance. And you?" He looked at John, up and down, his eyes filled with scorn. "You should teach your kid some manners instead of letting her run wild." John stepped forward, placing himself slightly in front of Lily. He kept his voice calm and polite. "Officer," he said, his voice even, "my daughter was not causing any disturbance. We are just enjoying the park, like everyone else." He gestured to other families nearby, some of whom were now looking over with curiosity. "Oh, a talker, are we?" Officer Miller puffed out his chest. He seemed to like an audience. "I will be the judge of what is a disturbance, and she—" He jabbed a finger towards Lily. "Looks like trouble to me. Probably one of those kids who disrespects everything." Lily's eyes filled with tears. "No, I am not. I did not do anything." John felt a fire begin to burn in his chest. A cold, angry fire. But he knew anger would not help. He had learned that lesson a long, long time ago. "Officer," he said, trying again, "there is no need for this. We can turn the music off if it truly bothers you, though I assure you it is very quiet." "It is not about the music anymore," Officer Miller sneered. "It is about attitude. Your daughter has a bad attitude, and you are encouraging it." He unclipped his taser from his belt. "Maybe a little lesson in respect is needed here." Panic shot through John. "Wait," he said, holding up a hand. "She is just a child. There is no need for that." But Officer Miller was not listening. He saw Lily flinch back, and it seemed to make him more determined. "She needs to learn to obey authority," he shouted. And then he did it. He pointed the taser at Lily. John lunged, but he was too far. The crackle of the taser, Lily's scream, and the sight of his daughter falling to the ground, it all happened in a blur of terrible seconds. Lily lay on the grass, crying and shaking. The barbs of the taser were still in her jacket. John rushed to her side, his mind reeling. Lily, are you okay?" He gently helped her sit up, his hands shaking with a mixture of rage and fear. Officer Miller stood there, the taser still in his hand, a smug look on his face. "See? A little compliance, that is all it takes." John looked up at him, and for a moment, the quiet father disappeared. In his eyes, there was a flash of something hard, something dangerous, but it was gone as quickly as it came. He had to stay calm, for Lily. He carefully removed the taser barbs from her jacket. Lily was sobbing, her body trembling from the shock and the pain. "It hurts, Daddy," she cried. John felt a pain in his own heart, sharper than any he had felt in years. His daughter, his innocent child, treated like this. For what? For dancing in a park. He felt so angry at the unfairness of it all. How could someone in uniform, someone meant to protect, act with such cruelty? If you have ever felt unfairly treated by someone in power, type unfair in the comments. He looked at Officer Miller. You had no right, he said, his voice low and tight with controlled anger. She did nothing to deserve that. Nothing. I have every right. Officer Miller retorted, his voice full of arrogance. She was resisting. She was being disorderly. He clearly did not care about the crying girl or the angry father. He thought he was completely in charge. John knew arguing with this man was useless. He had met men like Miller before, bullies who hid behind a badge or a uniform. Talking would not work. He needed to think. What could he do? He could file a complaint later, but that felt like too little, too late. Lily was hurt now. She was scared now. He helped Lily to a nearby bench, his arm around her shaking shoulders. He whispered soothing words to her, trying to calm her down. As he did, his mind raced. He could call the local police station, ask for a supervisor. But would they listen? Would they believe him over one of their own? Then he remembered a name, a promise. From years ago, a friend, a very good friend, who had risen high in the city's police force. If you ever need anything, John, she had told him, her voice serious. Anything at all, you call me. Day or night. He had not spoken to her in years, but he still had the special number she had given him, tucked away in his old wallet next to that worn photograph. He had never used it. He never thought he would need to. He pulled out his phone. His hand was still shaking a little, but his mind was clear now. He knew what he had to do. He found the number. He took a deep breath. Officer Miller was watching him, a sneer on his face, probably thinking John was calling for a lawyer or a friend to complain to. He had no idea. John pressed the call button. The phone rang twice. A calm, professional voice answered. Ramirez. Eva? John said, his voice quiet but firm. It is John. John Carter. There was a pause on the other end, then a warm voice, full of surprise and concern. John, it has been too long. Is everything all right? You sound troubled. John looked over at Lily, who was still trying to catch her breath, tears streaming down her face. He looked at Officer Miller, who was now idly swinging his empty taser. No, Eva. John said, keeping his voice level. Everything is not all right. My daughter, she was just tased. By one of your officers. In the park. For no reason. He quickly explained what happened, his words simple, clear, and full of the truth. He did not yell. He did not make threats. He just told her the facts. On the other end, Police Captain Eva Ramirez listened. John could almost see her, her face growing serious, her eyes narrowing. When he finished, her voice was like steel. John, where are you exactly? Give me the park name and your location in it. He told her. Stay right there, John, Captain Ramirez said. Do not move. Do not engage with that officer further. I am sending a team. They will be there in less than 10 minutes. I will be there myself as soon as I can break free. Are you and Lily safe for a few minutes? Yes, John said. We are safe. He is just watching us. Good. Hold tight. Help is on the way. The line clicked off. John put his phone back in his pocket. He felt a small bit of relief, but he was still worried for Lily. 9 minutes. That was what he focused on. Help would be here in about 9 minutes. He held Lily close. It is going to be okay, sweetie, he whispered. I promise. It is going to be okay. Officer Miller swaggered over. Who was that? Your mommy? Calling to complain? He laughed, a short, ugly sound. John just looked at him, saying nothing. He would wait. The next 9 minutes felt like 9 hours. Lily's sobs slowly quieted, but she still clung to him. John watched the entrance to the park. He tried to keep his face calm, but inside a storm was raging. He thought about his years of service, the sacrifices he had made, the principles he had fought for. And to see his own child treated with such casual cruelty by someone who was supposed to uphold those same principles, it made him sick. A few people in the park had seen what happened. They whispered among themselves, some looking angry, some scared. But no one came over. No one challenged Officer Miller. Tick, tock. The seconds crawled by. 7 minutes. 8 minutes. Then, exactly 9 minutes after John had hung up the phone, he saw them. Two police cars, sirens off but lights flashing, turned into the park entrance. They drove quickly, purposefully, towards them. They were followed by a black, unmarked car that John recognized. It was the kind high-ranking officers used. Officer Miller saw them too. His smug expression faltered. He straightened up, a look of confusion, then dawning worry, crossing his face. What was happening? Why were so many officers arriving? The police cars pulled up. Two sergeants got out, their faces grim. Then, the black car stopped, and Captain Eva Ramirez stepped out. She was in her full uniform, her expression stern and commanding. She was not the friendly voice on the phone now. She was all business. Her eyes scanned the scene. Officer Miller looking suddenly very small, John standing protectively by his daughter, Lily still pale and shaken on the bench. Captain Ramirez walked straight towards John. "John," she said, her voice softer now, full of concern. She looked at Lily. "Are you all right, young lady?" Lily just nodded, a little overwhelmed by all the new people. Officer Miller started to walk towards Captain Ramirez, a confused and nervous look on his face. "Captain, what is going on? I had a situation here with a disorderly juvenile and her uncooperative father." Captain Ramirez held up a hand, stopping him in his tracks. Her eyes were like ice as she looked at him. "Officer Miller," she said, her voice sharp, "I will deal with you in a moment." She turned back to John. "John, tell me exactly what happened." John, still calm, recounted the events. He pointed out the taser barbs he had placed on the bench. He explained how Lily was just dancing. As he spoke, the two sergeants listened intently. Other parkgoers started to gather at a distance, sensing something important was happening. When John finished, Captain Ramirez looked at Officer Miller. Her face was furious. "Officer Miller," she said, her voice dangerously quiet, "did you deploy your taser on this child?" Miller started to stammer. "Well, Captain, she was resisting. She was part of a group causing trouble. He was making things up, trying to justify his actions." He was clearly scared now. His face was pale. "Resisting what, officer?" Captain Ramirez asked, her voice like a whip. "Dancing? Enjoying a sunny day? This man," she gestured to John, "is Sergeant Major John Carter, retired. He served this city and this country for 20 years with honor and distinction. He has more medals for bravery than you have years on the force. And you call him uncooperative? You tase his daughter?" The color drained completely from Officer Miller's face. He looked at John with wide, shocked eyes. Sergeant Major, medals. He had made a very, very big mistake. He had judged a man by his simple clothes and quiet manner, and he had judged terribly wrong. If you believe our veterans deserve respect, type honor in the comments now. Captain Ramirez was not finished. "Your preliminary report, Miller, now." One of the sergeants handed her a small data pad. She read it quickly, her frown deepening. "This report is full of lies," she stated flatly. "You claim she assaulted you. Witnesses here," she gestured to the gathering crowd, some of whom were now nodding, "seem to disagree." I may have misjudged the situation, Captain," Miller mumbled, his arrogance gone, replaced by pure fear. "Misjudged?" Captain Ramirez's voice rose. "You abused your authority, Officer Miller. You assaulted a child. You brought disgrace to this badge." She pointed to his chest. "Sergeant, take Officer Miller's badge and service weapon. He is suspended, effective immediately, pending a full investigation. Get him out of my sight." The sergeant stepped forward. "Yes, Captain." Officer Miller looked like he was going to be sick. He unpinned his badge with trembling fingers and handed it over, along with his weapon. He was then led, looking defeated and ashamed, to one of the police cars. Captain Ramirez turned back to John and Lily. Her expression softened completely. "John, I am so sorry. So deeply sorry this happened to you and your daughter. There is no excuse for this." She knelt by Lily. "Sweetheart, are you hurt badly? We need to get you checked by paramedics." Lily, seeing the kind look on the captain's face, managed a small smile. I think I will be okay. It just scared me." "I understand," Captain Ramirez said gently, "but we will make sure, John." She stood up. "We will cover all medical expenses, of course. And I want a full statement from you and anyone else who saw this. We will ensure Officer Miller is held accountable." John finally let out a breath he felt like he had been holding for hours. "Thank you, Eva. That means more than you know." "No, John," she said, putting a hand on his arm. Thank you for your service then and for your composure now. You handled this with incredible restraint." She looked around at the other officers. "Let this be a lesson to everyone. We are here to protect and serve, not to bully and abuse. Respect is earned, and it is given to all citizens, regardless of how they look or who they are." In the days that followed, Officer Miller was fired. The story of what happened spread through the police department and even the local news. The department started new training programs focused on de-escalation and community respect, especially concerning young people and interactions with veterans. Lily got a special tour of the police station from Captain Ramirez, who made sure Lily knew that most officers were good people who wanted to help. Lily even got to meet some of the police dogs, which she loved. She quickly recovered from her scare, her father's strength, and the quick justice helping her heal. John Carter never wanted to be a hero again. He had done his time. But that day in the park, by making one phone call, he had fought back against unfairness and protected his daughter. He remained a quiet man, but those who knew his story, and those who saw the changes in their local police, knew that his quiet strength had made a big difference. He was glad that justice had happened. He was happy his daughter was safe and that maybe, just maybe, something like this would not happen to another child, another family. The lesson here is simple. Never judge a book by its cover, and always stand up for what is right, even if your voice shakes. True strength is not about shouting the loudest. It is about doing the right thing, calmly and firmly. If you believe that heroes walk among us every day and that they deserve our deepest respect, please subscribe to this channel for more stories like this. And remember, kindness costs nothing, but its value is immeasurable.